Hells to the
I'm ready when you
Of
want.
course, I'd have an itchy throat. You ready to rock?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you have been tuning in to The Ultimate Fighter Season 31, you're probably going to recognize my next guest, El Toro, Mando Gutierrez. How are you, brother?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Dude, I'm stoked. And the reason I'm stoked is I've been dying to ask you this question because I freaked out a little bit when I heard Conor say #1 bantamweight. Mando Gutierrez, man. How did it feel to be selected as Conor's #1 bantamweight on the show?
I mean, obviously it felt great, but at the same time, like I've been competing at a high level for a long time, and one thing I've learned along the way is the power of manifestation and the law of attraction. It's very powerful and it's very real. So it's almost like anticlimactic when some of these things happen because I've seen it in my head so many times. And if you ask me, I went into the house knowing I was the #1 seed. I went into the house knowing I was the best competitor there, and that's always been my mindset, and that's what I work so hard for. So, I mean, but it's always nice to have that reassurance that think I'm doing the right things and I'm training hard and people are taking notice. It was definitely a cool pat on the back and exactly what I needed heading into my first fight.
That's incredible. And I got to tell you, for the listeners out there, during COVID, right as COVID struck, I was a week out from my second professional fight, Mando. I'm a former teammate of his. And he's right, man. You've always had that belief in yourself. You've always worked. You've busted your ass off in the practice room. So you're right, man. That was manifested. I could see it in your eyes every day in practice, and it was super, super impressive. When you came in, just the discipline, the hunger, the focus, you had it, man. You were a special teammate right off the bat. But before you joined Murcielago, what were you up to, and why did you decide to join this crazy life?
So a big thing for me is I wrestled my whole life, and that was a huge part of my life for like since I was young. And when that was over, I kind of just needed a new outlet. I'm sure you can relate. That's the only life I ever knew. That's that structure, that grind. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything else. It's almost like you're militarized. Like you're set to one mode, and that's go hard, and that's it. That's all I ever knew. So being away from that, like it's weird. It's almost like you go through a phase of withdrawal almost, or you could call it that. You could call it fear of missing out. You could call it many things. But at the end of the day, all I know is that a life without it is a life I don't want. So I need martial arts in my life. I always have, and I tell people it literally saved my life. Like I wasn't down the best path before that, and I think when in the year that I stopped wrestling and I started competing in other sports, like little pastime stuff like powerlifting and bodybuilding and all that type of thing, it didn't fill that void. There's no me against you. There's no putting it all on the line, one person against another. Like there's no clear cut winner. So I just really missed that. I missed that. I missed sacrificing everything for something that means the world to me, even though it might not mean the world to anybody else. It might not mean anything to anybody else, but to me, that's what I need. A lot of people love fighting and winning. I love the process. I love winning. Obviously, I love winning. Obviously, I love fighting, but I love everything that goes into it. I love the sacrifices. I don't mind missing things. I don't mind sacrificing things. I don't mind suffering a little bit to get what I want, because that moment, it's like, I wish I could just bottle it up and have it forever. It's the most powerful drug there is, It's just that feeling is just unlike anything else. And I'm sure that's the same reason a lot of guys do it.
Well, your work ethic is insane, and you said something, and amen to that, brother, because likewise, wrestling does save lives.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing sport. And that's your style. You do have that wrestling grind. Who gave you the nickname El Toro? Because you are a bull. You attack, you move forward, you never stop, and you freak guys out with your style, man. Who gave you that nickname?
It kind of just fell in my lap, really, But Mike Gilmore was the first one that I could honestly attest it to. he was the one that truly gave it to me. But when I showed up to Murcielago, uh, everyone had the bull shirts, back when we had the bull logo. So I always had the bull as a part of the things, but I'm Mexican. Obviously, I'm gonna put it up in Spanish, and I would always do this in my fights.
Oh, that's right.
Because everyone else did it, so I started doing it. But for whatever reason, it just stuck with me, and everyone realized, like everyone took notice that I would do that, and then it just became a thing. I think the final nail in the coffin that really led people to start calling me that was the running face first into the cage and headbutting the cage. I think that's what really did it, and I love it. It's like a trademark.
You're a wild man, yeah. Your victory, you would sprint face first into the cage, man, with just so much passion. You are an extremely passionate human being. And shout out to Murcielago. You know what I loved? As soon as Conor McGregor was like, all right, put your gloves on, we're going to spar. I was like, oh, well, Mando's going to be comfortable with this. I mean, that's what Coach Joaquin Murcielago all day long. Put him on, fellas, strap him up.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and it couldn't have been, obviously, everyone's going to be a little tentative. Everybody's going to be a little cold. Everybody's going to be a lot of different things, anxious, a bunch of different things, because one, we were locked in a hotel for 10 days before the show even started. So we didn't, all we had was a treadmill. Nobody had physical contact with another person for 10 days. We never got the roll. We never got the strike. We didn't get to do anything. We got 2 30-minute sessions on a bag the whole time. Those 10 days we were there. So, yeah. So
wow.
Literally our first real workout back was a full-blown sparring session with live rolls at the end. And to throw it, like make it a little more interesting. On top of that, it was evaluations. So put all that in a blender and chug it quick, because that's all we had. Like we had to go right then and there, and it was great because it shocked the system. It got all that nervous energy out, and everybody was locked and loaded, ready to go. Everybody came with all their ducks in a row. Nobody was messing around. This is the hardest cast they've ever had, the best season they've ever had. And I knew coming in, the competition was this, so I was ready for whatever. And I knew coming into the show that I could definitely show Conor enough to be his number one pick. I knew I had it in me. I knew I had what it takes, and I knew I had what he's looking for.
That is amazing. That is absolutely incredible. And speaking of Conor, I have to bring this up. I saw, and we got to show the photo. Mando is a barber. You got the opportunity to cut Conor's hair. Was there any extra pressure when you were doing your thing, man?
No, not at all. It's actually in my episode, everyone will see. I cut his hair the night before the fight, face completely sucked out, dry as hell. And I was sitting there cutting his hair, having a good time. I mean, this is what I do. I would bet my life on cutting hair. I'm not worried about it. I mean, he does move a lot, but that's more so because he's a wanted man. Everybody around him wants his attention, wants to talk to him. You got people in 10 different directions trying to get his attention. So it was cool and all, and it was just nice to be able to chop it up. I think as a barber, I've learned to separate the person from the persona, and I know that I can be a professional and treat you like a normal human, and everyone loves that. No matter who it is, if I treat you like a normal guy, I talk to you normal, and I treat you normal, you're gonna like that better. That's a big part of a haircut. It's really important to me, and I believe in that. That's my craft. So I wanted to make it as good of an experience for him as I could, and clearly he liked it, because I don't think it's very often that people talk to him like he's not famous, like he's just some other guy.
Yeah, for sure. Respect, brother. Absolutely. You notice in your Dana White's Contender Series sweatshirt, you're such a humble guy. You do look at anyone in the eye and you treat them just like they're anyone else, even if they are one of the biggest superstars ever in the history of MMA. You came off a tough loss on Dana White's Contender Series, and I remember the night, and instead of just quitting, just hanging the gloves up for a minute, and you've seen it with fighters who come up with tough losses. You don't see them for months, sometimes years, because it's just devastating, and they cannot recover from it. Not only did you recover from your loss on the Contender Series, you book a fight with an extremely worthy opponent and you dominated him. What motivated you to make a statement like that after a loss that would put so many people on out?
One, going into that fight, I knew it was an unwinnable fight. Honestly, I just wanted to get my name out there. There's a lot of things that went wrong in that camp that I won't even get into because, I mean, making excuses just ain't for me. But the reality of it is when you're fighting a dude that everyone wants to see win, it's an unwinnable fight no matter what. If I beat him, they were going to write it off as, oh, you beat a 17-year-old. And when I lost to him, they blew it up like he was the next big thing. So either way, I knew it was going to be very unlikely for me to get a contract that night. But regardless, I went out there, I showed up, and I did what I do. And obviously the fight itself, it left a sour taste in my mouth. One, because I didn't perform anywhere near the level I'm capable of. But two, everyone in the world saw him also not want to fight. He just wanted to lay on me and take my bag, and that's it. So everyone saw it. You know, I was just immobilized in that fight, and that's all there is to it. So I knew that if I stuck to the game plan, I would have won that fight. But I didn't stick to the game plan, and that's the fight game. You know, sometimes you fall on the back foot and you don't get it back, and that's what happened. So I wanted to right my wrongs, and I wanted to do it quick. I wanted to get that sour taste out of my mouth, and that opportunity came up 3 weeks after the Contender, so I hopped right in there and did it. I mean, this is what I do for a living. I'm not playing. Like, I got right back in there, and I did it, and it worked out.
Yeah, man, you wasted no time, and you get better every time you step in there. Like, every time you step in the cage, you get better, and that is coming from your hard work and discipline with Murcielago. You mentioned something, that mental toughness, man. Before I fought, I thought I would kind of understand what it felt like, the whole pre-fight stress, the night before, the week before. Most people have no idea how much pressure, like, it's just a different level of pressure. You stayed 10 days in a hotel before knowing that you're walking into one of the toughest competitions in the Ultimate Fighter's history. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, 10 days. Like, the mental games. How do you deal with the mental games when you do have that devil on your shoulder telling you, you know, you suck, you're this, you're that, just trying to pull your soul down?
The way I see it, I start way before that. You're talking about the 10 days leading up. For me, I'm wired completely different than most fighters. Most fighters sign a contract, no problem, and then they waltz their way in all through camp and everything's good. And then the week of the fight, all of a sudden they start second guessing and shitting their pants. I'm the opposite. I get the anxiety when I get the contract. When the contract comes to me, that's where the anxiety starts. And every day I win the day. I focus on winning the day. Every day at camp is another opportunity to win, and I just do what I do. I win my nutrition. I win my training. I win my cardio. I win my diet. I win my road work, everything. And what ends up happening is by the time I get to fight week, I'm 40-0, 50-0. And then guess what? Fight week comes along. Now there's nothing. There's no stress. There's no worries. I've done everything. It's 100% out of my control. And now it's up to the man upstairs and my skills that I've worked so hard to build to give me the results that I want. And that's it.
That level of that level of discipline is insane. Yeah. It reminds me of Miyato Musashi, who was one of the most deadliest samurais of all time, and he was like, you live every day of your life like a warrior. And that's exactly what you just explained. Like, there's no faucet that shuts off that mental preparation, that focus, that hunger, that desire for success.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people got this game all wrong. They train for a fight. They don't train to get better. I train to get better. Every day I'm getting better. I'm not training for a fight. That's why you never really see me change things in fight camps. I don't focus on anything they're coming with. I focus on me. And I can guarantee you, for the Ultimate Fighter, I brought my absolute best package I possibly could have. Everything was perfect. Everything was in order. My mindset, my physical, like everything was 100%. And I've never felt better going into a competition. So everyone's going to see it. You know, I went out there and I fought my ass off.
You do every time, man. You leave your heart in the cage. and it's so honorable and courageous. That never quit mentality is something that millions of people out there, read books, listen to various podcasts, listen to speeches by notable people to get motivation and inspiration. Where did you develop that no quit mentality? Like I know you got a younger brother that's fighting. Do you come from a family of fighters and that discipline hardwired in that Gutierrez blood?
No, not at all. I mean, I'd like to think so. I'd love to think that that's what it is, but honestly, it does. A lot of it does come from my parents. We were raised in a blue collar household. My parents were immigrants. They came here from Mexico, from a town where, when they left, there was no running water, there was no light, like there's no anything. Like, where they come from, true third world area, and they made it happen for us. We were, like, looking back, I was never missing anything. I was never lacking anything that I needed. I had absolutely everything. And it's all because of them, their hard work, their discipline. They did the right thing every day. They worked so hard to make us be, or help us be successful. And how could I not go out there and reach for the stars when they made it happen with absolutely nothing? No money in the bank, no job prospects. They didn't even speak the language, and they made it happen. So why can't I? And my dad's the hardest working man I've ever known. He's never made an excuse. He's never sitting down to this day. And I'd be lucky to be half the man he is. And all I want to do is make him proud.
That's amazing. So you use that love for family as motivation to get that fire burning, even on days when you really don't want to be in there.
Absolutely.
You get in there for them. Wow. And now your brother is training with you side by side at Murcielago, yes?
Yes, sir.
Nice. You guys, I don't know how you do it. How easy would it be for me to rock that mullet when you guys rock that long hair? Your brother the other day was fluffed and feathered, man. I was like...
Oh, yeah. He does have the craziest hair. He has the coolest hair in MMA. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Oh, that is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Well, oh, man. So when you are down and out, when you have fallen, how do you pick up those pieces and rise again time after time? And it's not just coming up short in the cage, like in life as well. Like that discipline, that hardwired mindset. How did you attain that gift?
I just don't take anything too seriously. And I love my life. I'm blessed. And I think I just keep everything really simple. It doesn't have to be anything else than what it's supposed to be. I live my life based on a simple motto. You work hard, control what you control, and be a good person. Everything else is going to fall into place. So if something goes wrong, it's real easy to step back and look at the huge mess and be like, oh, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to clean this up? How am I going to build back up? But no matter how you break it down or how you go about it, the answer always remains the same. You start by one piece at a time. So when I lost and everyone's shitting on me online and everyone's talking crazy and like, this game does not love you back. That's the thing, so it's a real lonely road. And for me, losing, I knew that the first step to get back to the top was just that one step. Go out there and take a fight. Go out there and take another fight. Right your wrongs. And then everything else is going to work itself out. The job seems way harder when you look at the grand scheme of it. But at the end of the day, you got to make it smaller. You got to make everything smaller. Everything is not a big deal.
Man, you take it one day at a time type of person?
Exactly.
Yeah, every day's a gift. Yeah,
I know. Like, I can truly tell you that if I die today, I die doing what I love. Every day I die doing what I love. To me, I owe that to myself. The life that I've built for myself, the life that I've been blessed to have, thanks to Jesus. None of this is my doing. I just work my ass off to make sure that I deserve it. That's what I do.
Wow.
All of this was already written. So to me, I just work hard every day and make sure I can deserve it. Like I don't want to feel like I'm just getting blessed with things that that I have no belonging to me, like that don't mean anything to me.
That is insanely inspirational, man. I think especially right now, like times are tough right now.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of
absolutely.
people out there right now are experiencing tough, tough times. So for you to take the time to jump on here, take us through your journey, I think it's going to inspire a lot of people when they're on their own journey. For those of you listening, you know, I hope that you literally took something from this, because this man is on the rise. He rises and rises again. Episode 1, we had a man, Randy Couture, cement himself as one of the best ever step in the cage. And I believe that El Toro here is well on his way to cementing his own legacy. Hey, The Ultimate Fighter, Season 31, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. It's going to be a doozy of a fight, man. I can't wait. I can't wait, and I can't wait to watch your journey on The Ultimate Fighter unfold. Brother, thank you so much. As always, I wish you the best. I know you're going to do great things, and I really sincerely appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Until next time.
Yes, sir.